Hashem can answer us, answer you on the day of your distress. Yisagevcha Hashem Elohei Yankei. The name of the God of Jacob, that's our God. God of Jacob should support you. He should send help to you from his holy place. That's the base of Mikdash, Mitzion, Sadeka, and support. He should recall. May you recall all your devotional offerings, what you could have used for yourself. Instead, you brought an offering to Hashem. An oil offering, Yadachna Selo, should be graciously accepted. And he should grant your heart's requests, and enable you to fulfill all your good resolutions. Then we will rejoice in your salvation. Hashem Eloheinu Nidgel, and raise the banner of Hashem on high. Hashem should fulfill all your heart's desires. Now I know. Hashem saves his anointed. Mashiach. Yanehu, answering him. Mishmei Kodshe, from his holy heavens. Biguvures, with might, salvation. Yeshav, Yemine, from his right hand. They come with chariots and vehicles of war, the cavalry, the susim. We come with the name of God upon our lips. They stumbled and fell. They say every nation has risen up against us, eventually stumbled and fell and disappeared from the arena of world history. And we stood up and we're still standing. Hashem is our King. He should answer us on the day that we call. Chapter 2, Tanya. The Holy Tanya. Someone told me yesterday that they found notes from the Rebbe. A lot of notes that they didn't know about. The Rebbe wrote things for himself. And they gathered them together with commentaries by the Rebbe's father, the Makubal from Levi Yitzchak, Tzaddik. And they published them. The first book of the Tanya is now in 2 volumes. All these commentaries that they found. And we are dealing with the simple meaning of the words. So we've dealt with 2 very important ideas, that the neshama, what it boils down to, is that the neshama elokis, the godly soul that's within every single Jew, whoever you meet, is a chelek elokami mamish, is a part of Hashem. And to understand this, we did the exercise of blowing, because it says in the Zohar, whoever blows, blows from deep within himself. This is teaching us that the neshama is something essential and deep, deep, deep. And if you think that's deep, it's even deeper. And the second parable to explain the tremendous quality of the neshama is that, in general, we know that the thought is father of a child. What does that mean? That in order to create new life, this is a miracle. How does a person have the ability to create new life? From somehow within him generates the seed which is white, which then unites with the egg in the mother. But where does this whiteness come from? We didn't learn yet. We're going to get there. That the basic number of creation is number 10. 10 is the DNA of creation. It's made up of two parts. This next chapter is chapter 3, which are 7 correspond to the 7 days of the week, and 3 intellectual sources corresponding to the right side of the brain, the left side of the brain, and the back of the brain. Inspiration is on the right. Development is on the left, called understanding, or in Hebrew the word is bina. Some of you may know people with that name, bina. On the highest level, bina is called, in the Tanya that we learned yesterday, the daily Tanya Shir, says bina is the world to come. Gan Eden is bina in the highest level of worlds, bina of Atzilus. And das is connection. That you have an idea, but it's connected through das. Das from the back of the brain, that's the passageway from the brain to the heart. Any good idea in your head has to go through das to get to your heart. Once it's in your heart, once the idea reaches your heart, you do something about it. The 7 emotions in your heart correspond to 7 creative activities, basic creative activities, which are symbolized by the 7 days of the week. That's why there are 7 days and not 8 days of the week. And the connection between intellect and creativity is das. Das is knowledge. Knowledge leads to creation. That's why the Torah translates the book of Genesis that Adam knew Chava. And they begat a child, because das means connection. So when a father and a mother connect with love, you have a child. So these are the 10 basic structures of creation, 3 on the level of the brains and 7 in the heart. The highest level of all is called the potential of everything to exist, which translates in Hebrew as Chachma. Chachma is a word that means wisdom. Chachma is wisdom. A wise person is a Chacham. The word Chachma is actually 2 words together. Chachma is koyach. Ma. Koyach is potential. Potential of a thing. The potential of a person to be great is a koyach. And all these, a person has koychos hanefesh, has the potential powers of the soul. So the koyach is a power, and it's a potential. And ma means what? We've said this before. Question words in English or Hebrew, any language, are statements of the unknown. When I'm asking a question, I'm asking about something that I don't know what it is. And I would like to know, what have you got there in your hand? What? Oh, a cup. Anything in it? Who didn't come today? Who's at the door? Who is here? Who? Ma means what? What is what? It's a question. It's something I don't know. So this thing here, what is it? What is it really? What is it? So the whatness of the thing is called the mahus of the thing, the mahus. The mahus is the essence of the thing that makes it what it is. So a question word is really a statement of something that we don't know. So the highest level of life comes obviously from God. How does it attach to something as finite and limited as our lives? So there has to be a very high point at which they can connect. For instance, for example, if there's a lightning storm going on, how do I make sure the lightning doesn't strike my house and the whole thing will burn down, which often did happen? How do I make sure I have a lightning rod, piece of metal that I put on the roof of the building, and if there comes lightning is seeking to come down to earth. It's going to take the fastest, nearest path it can find. So lightning will go and hit the lightning rod. From the lightning rod, it will go safely down into the earth. Otherwise, it could hit the house. And it might, the energy and the heat of the lightning might set the house on fire. This way, it's safe. So what's the lightning rod of your soul? The very highest point at which your soul powers, your life powers, can connect with the infinite source of life, which is God. So that the word for that is chokhmah, which means the power of a thing to be what it is, koyach ma. And we usually translate that as wisdom. But wisdom doesn't do anything. Wisdom isn't something you put your fingers on it. You can put it in your pocket. It's an abstract, it's a potential. Wisdom is a potential. So if you have a brilliant idea, a light goes on in your brain. Did I have an inspiration? Did I have a great idea? Oh, what was it? What? Question. Unknown. Oh, to tell you what it is, I have to explain. Oh, and then that's how I know from the potential we come into Bina. Bina is the area of explanation. That's the area where you develop an idea and you explore its categories, its qualities, its measurements, its weights, its density, its thickness, its volume, its what does it relate to? What does it connect with? That's all in Bina. So Chachma and Bina are like a king and a queen. They're never separated. They're always together. Chachma is the inspiration. Chachma is the inspiration. And Bina is the representation of your inspiration. Bina shows us what it is. Das connects it to your heart. So you can do something about it. Okay. So now we know that. Are you following me? Are you following this?
What page?
What?
What page?
What page? No page yet. What? That's the point. We're on the what of the page. Which is it? It's a question mark. We don't know. The highest level of life, as life comes into you, is where it touches your being, will be the very highest level of Chachma. Since Chachma is just an inspiration, the very highest level of Chachma, that's where God's life will connect to you. That's the lightning. That's the tippy top of the lightning rod of your soul. Obviously, there's something higher than that. That's the lightning itself. The lightning is coming from the essence and energy of godliness. Okay. So that's the level at which the creative sperm is created. It comes from the brain. And that's where in the brain it's called, mentioned this yesterday, the whiteness of the brain. And that leads in the creation of a child to the bones and the teeth and the whiteness of the eyes and the sinews. Okay. So that's what we need to know, that this is where the neshama is connected to our life. On this very, very highest level of the whiteness of the brain that leads to the creation of the child. And that's the level at which the neshama connects with us. So we have two metaphors for how the neshama comes from the infinite source in godliness into our finite, our limited powers. So we have the two examples are one, how that we blow from deep within us, and the second is that the thought of a person that he wants to have a family will enable him to have a family, and that will be the father of the child. Okay, now we're on chapter 2. Page 51. Page 49, 50 at the bottom. So too, it says, Jewish souls rose up in the Hashem's thought. The Hashem conceived of the idea of Jewish people in a physical world taking wax and string and a source of fire and lighting a Shabbos candle. Hashem had this thought. And in order to realize it, he had to create a world. And that's what it says here in the Medrash, note number 6, Medrash Rabbah. What is Medrash? Medrash is the explanation of the sages of the written text of the Torah. It's the explanation. Well, it says there that the souls of the Jewish people rose up in Hashem's thought, and when thought was instantaneous, just like you think of something in a split second. So when Hashem thought of Jewish people doing mitzvahs, carrying out his commandments in a physical world and transforming the physical world into a spiritual place, that's how creation began. That creation happened. Bottom of the page, like it says, B'nai b'chayri Yisrael. That's how Moses is speaking to Pharaoh. And he's saying, you can't hold on to the Jewish people and keep them as your slaves because they're not yours. Moshe Rabbeinu says in the name of God, they are my firstborn child. The Jewish people are my firstborn. And this is a metaphor. Again, along the same lines, it says in Devarim, in the written Torah, Banim atem laHashem Elokeichem. You are children to Hashem, who is your God. Page 51 now. Donna, you got the page? 51. Perush, what does this mean? Kamesha haben nimshach mimayach ha'av. Here you see, these are clear words, what I've been trying to explain. So now you know the idea, and now you see it inside. Shahaben, the son who is born, comes originally, his life source originates in the brains of the father. Mimoyach ha'av. Second paragraph. Kach kaviyachol. Now the word kaviyachol means so to speak. Because anything we're going to say about God, we don't know. So we can only describe him in terms that are meaningful to ourselves. So we say kaviyachol, that means to say. Means to say. We're trying to get at an idea that's too high for us for words. So he says, kach, so in the same way, kaviyachol, so to speak, nimshach, nishmas, kol ish Yisroel, every single Jewish person, their soul comes, nimshacha is drawn down, mimachshavtoi, v'hachmosai yisbarach, from the thought of Hashem and from the wisdom of Hashem. So our desire is really to plug into Hashem's thoughts and into Hashem's wisdom, Because that way we're connecting with the essence of life itself. Continuing. Now, because we said the wisdom of Hashem. What do we mean by the wisdom of Hashem? So now here it says, I believe this is from the Zohar. Yes, from the Zohar. We say this every Friday before Shabbos. It's a passage from the Zohar. It describes the whole spiritual anatomy of a person. And it starts with Chachma. Diyu Chakim, that he, Hashem, is wise. Diyu Chakim, but not with the wisdom that we can understand or we can know. His wisdom and our wisdom. Well, our wisdom is a reflection of the fact that he has wisdom. The fact that we have wisdom, where does it come from? It comes from the fact that he is wise. But we can't fool ourselves and think that if we acquire wisdom, we know God. His wisdom is far beyond any wisdom that we could possibly have. But his wisdom is the source of life. So his wisdom is going to connect with our wisdom. That's what we said before about the tippy top of the lightning rod of the soul. And similarly, in the writings of the Rambam is Maimonides, Moshe ben Maimon. Take the abbreviation of his name is Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. And he says, Shahu, 1, 2, 3, the fourth paragraph, page 51. Shahu Hamada. Hashem is the knowledge. Hashem is knowledge. Knowledge means knowledge of a thing. And he is the one who knows. So knowledge is an intellectual capacity that we know something. Something has entered our brain and we know it. We now possess it. It became part of us. And then the one who knows. For instance, if everything could be put on a computer and a person can learn from this computer, so we still have to have the person doing the learning. So it's not just the knowledge alone is just sitting there quietly on the desk here. But we need somebody to tune into it. That's the person who knows. And Hashem is both of these. He is the knowledge, and he is the one who knows that knowledge. But he's more than that. Rambam goes on to say, the Alter Rebbe just writes, etc. What's the etc.? The etc. is, he is also the thing that is known. So he is the knowledge, the knower, and the thing that is known. You heard that before? Probably you came across that saying. How does it say in the English here? He knows and comprehends through the knowledge, and he is that which is not. He is the thing itself. And he's the knowledge, the knower, and the subject of the knowledge. Okay, let's read this next paragraph in English. Who's a good reader? Anybody a good reader? In a loud voice. Who can read in a loud voice? Okay. Moriah. This means that God's wisdom. Bottom of page 51.
This means that God's wisdom and comprehension are totally different from man's. In human comprehension, there are three separate distinct components. A, the person's soul, the knower and possessor of knowledge. B, the power of intellect and comprehension, the knowledge by which the person knows. And C, the subject of the knowledge, the known, such as Allah in the Mishnah or discussion in the Gemara, which is apprehended and known.
Right. So this is, he's going to go on to say, page 52. This concept that the Rambam writes is way beyond something that you can really grasp or understand. Al-Burye in a clear way. because we can understand that there's a difference between knowledge and knowing. But how can I say that I am also the thing known? Only Hashem can be the thing known, because He is the creator of the thing that we are striving to know. So therefore, He is always connected with the thing that is known, because He's creating it, as we're going to learn as we go on, out of nothing this very single second. So He is the thing known, and He is the knowledge of what this thing is all about, and He is the one who knows it. And this is impossible for a person to contain within his finite brain. We're either on one side or the other side. To deceive. And again, we turn to the prophecy here of Eov. Hacheker Elokah Timtza. He says, is it possible for a person to understand Hashem? Do all the research you want. You're not going to get there. And many scientists have tried to go down this path, thinking that science is going to save the world, and they abandon their basic religious beliefs, and they try to find the source of life. Either they look into outer space, where's it all coming from? And what do they end up with? Confusion. It's beyond understanding. It goes beyond and beyond. So they looked into small things. First, they discovered molecules, that every substance is made up of molecules. And molecules combine to make substance. Then they discovered that molecules are made up of particles, of atoms. And then they discovered that atoms are made up of electrons and neutrons and protons. And then they tried to split them, and so they were able to split the atom. And now they can't see what's happening, but they can pass an electric current or a split atom through a field, like imagine a thick substance, and it will leave a tracing. And we can analyze this tracing, the path that the atom takes, so on. But what do they end up with? They end up with contradictions, impossibilities, and infinite mystery. So if they go out to the infinite or they go in, they also find that the inner life of things is infinite, and it's beyond comprehension, absolutely beyond comprehension. Can you understand Hashem? Search as you will. Do you think you'll be able to pin Him down and understand what Hashem is? And he brings another quotation from the prophecy of Yeshaya from 25, about 3,000 years ago. Le machshavei sai machshavei seichem. My thoughts are not like your thoughts. Now we have a long note, which I'm not going to study now because it'll be very confusing at this point. We'll come back to it tomorrow. Because it brings us to the question, since Hashem is infinite and we are finite, and every one of us is connected with the infinite, how do we explain that there's so many different kinds of souls, all from one source? We'll have to continue with this tomorrow. So you see, when you came into the class, we said the Hasidus is life. And it starts with the very beginnings of life, with creation of life. And it's a guide for us how to connect with this with the source of our own life, with the source of our soul. Just one point to interject at this point. That when we analyze the levels of the soul, there's the emotional level, there's the intellectual level. The highest of the intellectual, the highest rung on the intellectual level is Chachma, is wisdom. What's above that? What's above your brain? It's the idea of the crown. A king wears a crown over his head. A crown, the word for crown heights, is Keser. Right? Let's do the arithmetic. The numerical value of Keser is Chaf, it's 20. Reish is 200. Tov is 400. Comes out to 620. What does 620 suggest to you? We didn't mention this yesterday. We have 613 commandments and 7 commandments of the rabbis. That adds up to 620. That is the crown of revelation. The crown on the king that goes over the wisdom and the knowledge and everything of the king is the crown, made up of 620 mitzvahs. And these mitzvahs are compared to pillars of light. A pillar connects the floor with the ceiling. These are 620 pillars of light. And this is connected with where we were yesterday on the 20th day of the month, which is the birthday of the 5th Rebbe of Lubavitch. And the word for 20 is Esrim in Hebrew. And again, if we're going to do the numbers, Esrim, if you add up, you can do this yourselves. Esrim is Ayin, Sin, Resh, Yud, Mem. Write the letters down, add them up. You know what they're going to come to? I'll give you one guess. Quick guess. 620. And Esrim is the letter Chaf. Chaf has a regular shape and it has a final shape. Chaf and Chaf Sofis, and the Chaf. Esrim, higher than the whole of creation, is the Keser. What power in your soul is higher than all your soul powers? That's your willpower. Willpower. The saying in the Torah is that nothing stands before the willpower of a person. Many examples of that. A person really wants something, he really, really wants it, he can get it. Nothing stands in the way of the strong will. But the strong will has an outer aspect to it and an inner aspect to it. The inner aspect, what makes a person? Why do a person do that? Because he really wants it. Why do you really want it? Because he loves it. He gets so much pleasure from it, he wants it. So that's the inner essence of Hashem's creation, comes from the inner aspect of his desire to create a world. It's called external level of Keser, the internal level. They all get bundled into this concept of 620 pillars light. You understand what you want? It's amazing. It's all this. Get more used to these ideas as we discuss it more. Come back.
Like warm. Yeah, frozen in. Right on some sure.
Yeah.
Because it's. Dollars, it's useful, it's time to do it. So a lot of $100. And so, a time off. Wrong with you? I'm like, I don't think we would check out.